So for today's discussion, we are going to talk about migration. So migration refers to a move from one location to another location. There are two types of migration, the internal migration and international migration. So when we say internal migration, this is a move from one location to another location inside one country. But when we say international migration, this is a move from one country to another country. So there are 8 categories of international migration. So first is we had temporary labor migrants. Those are the overseas workers. Second, we had highly skilled and business migrants. Those are professionals who move to seek employment through international labor market. Third, we had the irregular migrants. Those are illegal migrants who seeks employment without documents or permit. Fourth, we had refugees. Those are person who is residing out to the country of nationality. Fifth, we had asylum seekers. Those are people or person who move across the borders to seek protection. Sixth, we had forced migration. Those are person who are forced to move due to environmental catastrophe or development. Seventh, we have the family member migration or the family reunion. This is to join a family member who already entered the immigration country. Lastly, we have the return migration, a people who return to its region or country after a period in another country.
United Nations Population Division provides comprehensive recent figures that estimate the migrant stock. According to UN figures, the global migrant stock grew from 75 million in 1965 to 120 million in 1990. 1990 figure roughly equal to 2% of world's population. In 1990s, international migration reached an estimated 135 to 140 million people, and 13 million UNCHR was included by 1997.
Migration and development. Over the last half-century, international migration has grown considerably by government and planners. Is migration assist or hinders for development? That is one of the most important questions for them. Migration often involves transfer of economic products, resource, human capital from a poor country to a rich one. By this, immigrants' countries will reap the benefits of investment. Both labor importing and exporting countries are often pursue short-term aims. Workers are protected while abroad, and many countries encourage immigration for employment. It means government recruit workers for employment, but somehow they have office to protect immigrants from abuses like human trafficking. Remittances are a key objective. Encourage migrants to save and combine their savings to set up companies or projects. Most immigration country governments have policies to prevent abuse or exploitation of their citizens while abroad, and to provide assistance in case of illness, accident, death, trouble with the law, dispute with employers, or other emergencies. And by that, we have OWA, or the Overseas Workers Welfare Administration, to assist migrants. And when migrants return, they have the adequate counseling for their experience, and they are supported by government agencies when they will return. Cooperation between sending and receiving countries, as well as international organizations, can play an important part in achieving a successful return.
1991 in India, 200 million, more than double the number of international migrants in the whole world. According to Skildo 1997, second half of 1980s has 750 million and 1 billion people migrated internally. 90% of migrants are living in just 55 countries. Most migration is from less developed countries. In 1990, 55% of migrants are found in such areas. The developed countries in 1990 has 4.6% population of migrants, while developing countries has 1.6% population of migrants. 1990 immigrant share in total population. In Oceania, 17.8%. In North America, 8.6%. And in Western Europe, 6.1%. Immigrants share in population far lower. In Asia, 1.4%. In Latin America and Caribbean, 1.7%. And in Africa or Zilotnik, 1999, 2.5%. In 1980s to 1990s, the flow of immigrants from less developed country to developed country has grown rapidly. So in 1995, 48% of all international migrants are women, while men are outnumbered in receiving countries. International cooperation on migration. This helps ensure the orderly migration to enhance the contribution of migration to development. International cooperation on migration efforts and outcomes are disappointing. These are the reasons why. They lack long-term strategies by both immigration and migration countries. Reluctance of immigration countries take steps which increases the cost of migration labor to employers. So the essential factors for the multilateral actions are effective monitoring, comprehensive, and internally comparable statistics.
Good day, everyone. Today, I will be reporting settlement and ethnic diversity. So, I have a question. Does immigration will lead to settlement? So there is an evidence of settlements and emergence of ethnic neighborhoods in Japan and other Asian countries according to Kumai 1995 and more in 1997. It seems that migration almost inevitably leads to settlement of the proportion of the migrants. Another factor is the increasing strength of human rights, which make it difficult for government to deport migrants or deny them the right to live with their families. Though even the migrants often speaks a different language and follow different cultural practices, they may be different especially in physical attributes, but they're also a human. Though immigration may lead to strong reactions from some sections of the population.
The Schengen Agreement in Europe and the tightening borders of US may reduce the irregular movement. Several African and Asian countries carried out quiet draconian measures. Barriers to mobility contradict the powerful forces which leading towards greater economic and cultural interchange. Most states welcome tourists and students and favor international labor market for highly skilled personnel. The nation-state, as it has developed since the 18th century, is premised on the idea of cultural as well as political unity. Democratic states tend to integrate immigrants by offering them and their children citizenship. The emergence of multicultural societies creates major challenges to national identities. Institutions are likely to change in response to diverse values and needs, according to Castle and Davidson. Asian states have tended to adopt quiet restrictive rules on the naturalization and citizenship and find it very difficult to accept possibility of integrating new immigrant population. The further knowledge of the nation-state is the recent trend to development of transnational communities. Thus, the idea of that a state must be based on a relatively homogeneous nation is becoming increasingly difficult to sustain.
I am Irish Garcia and now I will talk about the conclusion. In the beginning of 1990s, migration took prominent place on international political agenda. When the upheaval surrounding collapse, sovereign black, uncontrolled influxes of irregular migrants and asylum seekers to Western Europe and North America. Due to that, international meetings happened, which leads to have stricter border controls, which attempt to limit certain type of mobility. In the late 1990s, they see that the mass migration would not occur, and it was then seen that it is a secondary issue in Western countries. In East Asia, the financial crisis of 1997 to 1999 led to similar politicization of migration, which the migrant is being blamed for economic, so mass deportation and stricter border control were also made. It is also important to understand the types of migration lead to social and cultural change. To suppress such transformation only lead to conflict. Globalization lead to diverse societies and multicultural citizenship.